Hi, what's going on?
Hello.
Hey, Michelle.
Yeah.
Awesome. Bill Scott, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
I'm Rosen
you.
Bob.
Bob, nice to meet you.
You also.
So Dr. Friedman sends you, huh? He always sends me gifts.
I
He's
love
amazing,
him.
though.
Yes, he is. He just did my. Have you talked to him?
He texted me. He said, hey, you're seeing my girl next week. He said, let me know what you think, and we'll rock and roll from there.
Okay.
So
I trust him.
you
What
should.
trust?
You should. He is gifted. He's on that spectrum. So if I ever need colorectal surgery, he's the dude I call.
And I said if he ever moves somewhere, I will go there. No,
Well,
he said.
hopefully we get you all fixed up, and that way you don't have to worry.
There you go.
So start from the beginning.
Okay. Originally, it was diverticulitis.
Okay.
I was with another surgeon.
Dr. Caravel.
Caravel, you know him.
This town is very small.
Dr. Caravella removed part of my colon,
Okay.
had to put a colostomy bag on me.
And this was.
This was in, was it 19? God, I should have wrote all the dates down. I've had
That's all good. Ish.
Yes.
Ish works
Yes.
for me. 2019-ish.
Yes.
And this was, you
Toward
came
the
in
later.
Emergently. Like this was.
No.
Or this was, you saw him and scheduled it.
Yeah, it
And
was
They did a scheduled operation and you got a colostomy.
correct. Okay. And then about maybe 11 months, maybe it was time to take it down.
Okay.
We attempted to take it down, laparoscopic, ended up having to cut me open. Discovered my uterus and bowel were,
Fistulized.
he said plastered together.
Okay.
Okay. So what he ended up doing was, of course, I woke up with then an ileostomy.
Okay.
He used the same, so he undid the large intestine, whatever. He used the same,
Side.
Yeah.
Spot. Okay.
yeah, which I don't think is everyone's like, why'd they put it that? It was in my creek. I mean, it was nobody ever measured me or anything. But anyway,
Okay.
so that was that. So whether I don't know what, that's what he did, and I think he undid the uterus, and I don't.
Well, he was attempting to separate.
Okay. The colovaginal fistula.
Yeah.
And he tried to take that down.
Well, that wasn't what it was told, nothing about a fistula yet.
Okay.
But ever since that surgery, I had, oh my God, I was wearing diapers. I mean, I didn't know.
What was going where?
Yeah, I mean, I woke up in the bed like, why is it all wet? I mean, I wore diapers for a couple of months. I mean,
She had staples coming out. She had.
of my vagina, I had poop coming out of it, whatever.
Yeah.
So
Nine
then,
yards.
of course, I'm back and forth with him, blah, 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 whatever. And then they discovered fistula. I had a couple of those enemas and whatnot, it was coming, I mean, I was soaked, it was coming out everywhere. So then the third surgery with him was to fix it, repair.
Okay.
And that was in 22, early 22. And then obviously that really didn't,
Cool.
I mean, I've had discharge, I've been wearing pads for probably close to a couple of years.
Gotcha.
Discharge, and then, so he supposedly did the repair, whatever, and it just didn't. So then when I went back to him, he goes, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah. So then he sent you to Friedman.
He sent me to Friedman,
Okay.
and that was it. I mean, so then I went.
What did Dr. Friedman do?
He, we met with him a few times before the surgery, but he sent me for tests, CT, whatever, I mean,
Okay.
and then he said, you only got about this much bowel left. So when we do
Okay.
this surgery, you may end up with this the rest of your life.
Okay.
If I have to cut any more of that out. He goes,
That's he's saying what's left of your rectum.
that,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he held on it, and I'm like, what does that mean? You know, he goes, you may have, if I have to get rid of more, you may have this the rest of your life. So, of course, you know, he has to tell you whatever. He said it'll be a long surgery. Oh, then he sent me to Swainston
Okay.
because of the discharge and all that, you know.
Yeah.
So he was part of that surgery I just had November 7th. He removed my fallopian tubes and
Swainston's great.
yes, oh my gosh, and
So they took your uterus at that point?
no,
Okay.
they did not take my uterus out. And Friedman had said, I'd rather not, but if Swainston, then that's, but whatever he says, he goes, I'll be doing like 95% and then he'll be doing whatever female, you know. So that's what ended up happening.
That was all to repair the fistula.
Right.
Okay.
And I believe it was a success.
Okay.
And he did it all laparoscopic. 10 hours. And I'm like, oh.
He's gifted.
Oh, he is. I said, you are my hero. You saved my life. I mean, even Swainson said, you're lucky to be alive today. What has been going on. And I'm just like, oh. So he did it all laparoscopic. I feel good other than this hernia, which I've had now my colostomy was recessed. Oh God, that was a nightmare. It was like this thing is out. I mean,
You got a big peristomal hernia there.
yeah, and it hurts. I mean, not all the time, but
Yeah.
I woke up today. This was the first time I had I woke up and I'm like, oh my God. It was full the bag. Normally I get up once or twice in the night. I don't sleep very well. I haven't since these surgeries.
Since all this started.
Yeah, I don't. But I was tired and I'm like, yeah, it's okay. Well, this morning was I'm like, oh my gosh. I think that's why it might be real sore. I don't know. Cause it's weighted. I mean, it's, you know. So that is that. What am I missing? Anything?
No, I don't think so. That's,
Yeah.
Cool.
So, I know.
Let's
I'd
take a
like
look.
to see Dr. Kelly. I thought of paying him a visit. Not that he's bad,
He
but it wasn't his.
yeah.
I'm like, why didn't you refer me to? You referred me to Friedman. After 3.
Yeah.
Why didn't you do it at number 2?
So as a general surgeon, there's a lot we can do, and it's important to know when you've reached your limit, and ideally before you've reached your limit.
Yeah.
So
he went beyond his.
let's have you come up here. Let's take a look. Let's see what we're getting into here. Garrett texted me last week, and he's like,
Oh,
"Hey,
he
this is
did?
my girl.
Yeah.
Tell me what you think, and then we'll
Yeah.
go from there."
Yeah. Oh boy. Oh, so now like a week or 10 days after the surgery, oh my God, the pain up here was excruciating.
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to.
It's okay. No, that's okay. Do whatever you have to. So I got rushed to the hospital. I
They
thought,
said you had some gallstones.
oh my God. I said, oh, what else could I?
I know.
And this around the hernia and that it's like numb too. At times, I like.
To be expected. All right. Let's take
Okay.
a sit up here.
Okay. Oh boy. Cool.
So, Usually when Friedman sends me people, they're never easy. But that's kind of my specialty.
Right.
So, looking at your abdominal wall, we have a couple things that we're going to need to figure out and play with.
Okay.
The good news is that what you have going on in the middle here is not bad. So I think we're actually probably okay within there. What you do have though is a really large peristomal hernia. And what we need to do is fix that. Okay, especially at the same time if Friedman feels like he put everything back together minus the ileostomy. So his plan would be, and my thought would be, that we would go in, reverse that, take it down, then we got to figure out how we fix your hernia. Hernia surgery in and of itself, there's a few major tenets, like basically the pillars of hernia surgery. One of them is I need the tissue to be able to put over that. We need to be able to figure out how I'm going to fix that. The other one is tension free, meaning when I put that stuff together, if I put it together and there's tension on it, no amount of mesh, no amount of anything else that I do in there is going to keep it from falling apart again. So that's twofold. One, as we look at your weight right now all this hasn't helped. So, but having more weight, especially within this trunk in this main region here, is going to push against that, right? It's the Hoover Dam's right down the street. We got water levels high, the pressure on the dam is high. Water levels low, pressure on the dam is low. As we lose weight, that's going to take pressure off the repair. Okay, that's what we want.
And I have, because I was like 223, so I have the.
Good, and we want to keep.
Not that I knew that. I just
Yes.
was trying to do it for myself, and I'm like, get off the cook, whatever.
Yes. So anything that we can do that pushes us in that direction is going to be super helpful. But I'm also a very realistic person in that this is probably limiting your ability to do any exercise or other stuff.
Yeah.
And so sometimes we have to kind of make those steps to put you back together, knowing that, and we feel confident enough that you are going to also take the next steps. Like, we'll do our job, you got to do your job, continue to lose the weight, take all that off so the repair stays.
Yes.
I'm going to scroll through your CAT scan and kind of come up with a plan of what I think we could do.
Okay.
One of the things that I think is probably most likely is a unilateral TAR. And what does that mean? So when we talk about hernia surgery and we start getting bigger and bigger defects, one of the things that we run into is kind of within our midline here. You, as of right now, I got to go back. I want to kind of scroll through your CAT scans a little bit more recently. One thing that can happen is that this is your rectus muscle.
Mm-hmm.
Off to the side, you have your external oblique, your internal oblique, and your transverse abdominis. So those muscles, those three muscles, then kind of form this little thin area we call fascia, and then it comes into your rectus muscle, so your midline muscles here. So we divide the rectus muscle, and that's where Dr. Caravella did that, opened you up, and then put you back together. I'm less concerned about that spot right there. What I am concerned about is here, you've got a huge area within all of these three that's kind of widened out. And so the question becomes, what do I need to do to open up that space to be able to bring everything down so that I can put a nice big sheet of mesh across there. I can cover up that hole that's in there, and we can get you doing better. One of the things that I think is most likely is what we call a TAR. So that's a transverse abdominis, that's the last muscle that's here, release. And what that means is that your peristomal hernia kind of goes through here. I basically start at the rectus, I dissect here, and then I'm going to cut this muscle on your side. So I cut the left side of your muscle. The muscle then retracts back, and the other muscles I can then pull further forward. So it gives me a little bit more muscle to bring up and close over the top of where I'm going to lay the mesh down.
Okay.
That gets me that tension-free we were talking about. Because I'm releasing some of that tension, gives me a little bit more freedom to move everything back over so that I can get it all nice and covered. Okay. Usually that's anywhere between a 4 to 6 hour operation on my part. But it's about as big as we do for hernia surgery. I think for you, that may be our best bet to get the appropriate coverage and make sure everything is in the right spot. The caveat to this, the reason it takes so long, is that all your nerves, arteries, vessels, everything that innervates that comes in through here. So I have to make sure that I take this down, I see these, and then I make the cut on the muscle over here so I don't injure those. If I injure that, it basically denervates your entire abdominal wall and it will stick out and you can't flex it at all. I've done more than a few of these, so the good news is we're not going to run into that. But it's a big operation, and I think looking at you,
I got it at all.
I know you're like, all my operations have been big.
I can't.
So that muscle doesn't get reattached then?
I just let it shrink back, do its thing, and then that way I can pull the other muscles
The other
out.
ones will
And
tighten
I lay a
up.
nice sheet of mesh all the way across there. And then what I'm gonna do is then go to the other side, do the same thing, except I'm not gonna, that side, I'm just gonna take down the posterior rectus sheath. I don't think I need to do a full tar on that side. So I take that down, close everything up, lay mesh across there, then close up the top, so on the midline and then where the hernia is, and then we desufflate everything, create this big mesh sandwich to hopefully cause it all to heal up.
Okay. So that'll keep everything down, what, forever?
It's the goal. That's the
Okay.
goal.
But then, like you said, if you gain weight, right, it could.
So you can destroy my repair.
Oh, no, I won't.
The goal would be not to do that.
No, I
Um,
will not.
The other thing, because you've got gallstones and because you've had some pain before, we should probably take your gallbladder out at the same time.
That's what Friedman said, that's why he said,
Yeah.
Dr. Scott, and you'd be able to do that too.
Yeah.
Okay, is this all done laparoscopic?
So-
Or what?
So if his last surgery, if he's able to do that robotically, my hope.
Friedman did not care.
Yeah, I know that guy hates open surgery. It's funny.
Friedman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't do anything on the robot, which he's almost 99% right. So with that, if he was able to complete the last one that way, the chances are very good that we'd be able to complete it robotically as well.
Okay.
Now,
Your portion.
both.
Oh.
I mean,
Yes, he's got it.
knowing that he's gonna try it, but your portion, you can do it
So
robotic.
the hardest part for me is not necessarily the hardest part robotically is just making sure we have space from all the adhesions. And he probably did an extensive adhesiolysis last time and took adhesions down, and that's probably one of the things that took forever in the operation was actually being able to actually see what he wanted to see. And so
Okay.
it's like the operation before the operation, and so that's what we're
Cleaning
kinda-
out, yeah, he
Yeah,
said that was about 4 hours.
was a major
but
part of
yeah.
what he did, yes.
Yep. And so that being half of the case, you may have some more adhesions this time, but they're probably not going to be nearly as bad because he already did a bunch of adhesiolysis. But adhesions beget adhesions. So anytime you have surgery causes adhesions. We do surgery to get rid of adhesions, cause more adhesions. So it's this terrible toilet bowl cycle of stuff that happens.
Yeah.
So all that together, I think that would be my course of action, would be probably a unilateral tar, probably double dock, and then I would have to figure out how to use those ports to take your gallbladder out. And by double docking, I mean, well, he's going to put his ports across like this. He would probably use 4 to do the ileostomy. This is what I love about every time I get to operate with Garrett, is he'll come in, he'll do his part, it'll probably take him 20 minutes, and he'll be done, and then he'll be like, all right, dude, and he'll give me a peace sign, he'll run off and do something else, and I'll be stuck with a 4 to 6 hour, repair. But he's already done his hard work.
Yeah,
Right.
he had
now-
his big show.
Yep, this is the transition to my big show, where now I gotta put your abdominal wall back together and
Right.
figure out how to make it work.
Right.
I think we can do that, and then I can figure out where to put the ports on. You've had lots of ports, so ports are free, so we'll do what we have to do, get your gallbladder out,
Okay.
and then fix everything else.
Okay.
I probably, because you've had so much stuff done before, and because we're taking the gallbladder out at the same time, I probably would use a biologic mesh What does that mean?
Yeah.
So there's two types of meshes. So if you stay up late and watch any kind of late night TV, right? They talk about, have you had a hernia mesh? Call,
Right.
Johnson and
The
Johnson Law
commercial,
Firm,
whatever.
because we're going to make so much money. Anything that I put in you, latest, greatest, FDA approved, all good. What the lawyers dig up down the road, I have zero say in, and I don't know. But mesh is mesh. It's a foreign body. About 40 to 60% of it will resolve over time, so your body will eat it up and it will disappear. The rest of it is basically like a screen door, if you can imagine that your body's going to grow in and around, and because it does that, it reinforces the repair. It's like scaffolding, and your body will build around it, and because of that, it's going to reduce your risk of recurrence. Nothing's 100%,
Right.
but if we do this all the right way, the goal is this never comes back.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Now, because we've done this in what we call a COAST procedure, which we're actually presenting at a conference coming up and then publishing on, we've done it where we use permanent mesh in doing these. My concern with doing permanent mesh in somebody where we're taking your gallbladder out also increases the risk of infection. So you may be a patient where I would use something like Phasix, which is biologic, meaning that it will 100% resorb over time, but it leaves enough of a scaffolding that you still get reduction in your recurrence.
Okay.
So, in my opinion, it's not as ideal as prosthetic mesh, but it's also nice because it will go away, and so you don't have to worry about like a lot of the long-term complications of having synthetic mesh.
Okay. Is it, what'd you say about the other mesh with the infection with the gallbladder? Should the gallbladder wait, or is it best to do it all and get it done? I mean,
That's Gary texting me right now. I'll tell him you say hi.
yeah.
So I think I haven't done any of these coasts with the synthetic. I've used synthetic a bunch before. I love or with biologic. I love using synthetic. So synthetic is anything that is plastic, basically man-made. It's either polypropylene, polyester. Biologic is about 3 to 4 times more expensive. Doesn't matter for you, but it's basically a lot of times they take like either cadaver dermis or other stuff. They irradiate it so there's no disease or anything like that in it. But then your body will, over time, eat it up and it will all go away. / get incorporated into your abdominal wall. We've talked about this, and I've actually been interested in doing a second arm of our trial using this type of mesh, and the reason being is that a lot of surgeons feel very apprehensive doing what he and I have done in putting a synthetic mesh in there, because a synthetic mesh infection is a pain. Like trying to get rid of those is never, I've explanted more mesh than I've been able to treat through infection. But you don't have to really worry about that with biologic, because it's going to go away over time, so you can treat through it.
Okay.
I know it's a lot of words, but basically meaning infection, biologic, no infection, synthetic. It's kind of like the same, like when you put oil in your car, right? There's the synthetic, which is man-made oil. There's regular oil, which is we pumped out of the ground and old dinosaurs and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah.
So in this case, I would lean towards, if we're going to take your gallbladder out at the same time, if we're going to do it this way, I would probably use the biologic mesh, which is really like the normal non-man-made stuff. So it's like either human skin that's been irradiated or some other type of thing that they use that we put in there that we know is going to absorb over time.
Okay.
Now, Phasix has great studies with hernia mesh, and a lot of it is very like neck and neck with using the synthetic. I always take any of their studies with a grain of salt, because obviously they're going to find data that supports what they want.
Yeah.
But I would say that's probably the route I would go.
Okay.
And that's, I think, what he was hoping for too.
Oh, okay. So it's good to get it all done. Like, should we do the
So we could do a staged operation.
take down and the hernias and then do the gallbladder, or no? It's best to do it all.
I would just knock it off at once. And the reason being, and we've looked at this,
Knock it out.
and this is the reason we're publishing on it, is it saves you another anesthetic event. It cuts cost, not only for you, but for the hospital. Right?
Okay.
So the hospital is no longer having to come back and have another operation,
Yeah,
another hospital stay, all that kind of stuff for the same problem. So all those things are beneficial to everyone involved.
Okay.
But it's a lot more for us to take on our shoulders because it's not like, hey, he does his thing, puts it all back together, then you come
Right.
see me. A lot of times that hernia is getting worse over that period of time, so it
Yeah.
makes my job a little more difficult. I'm a big proponent of it. I think that's very much a doable operation for you.
Okay, good, that's,
Because gallbladder surgery on its own is not really a major surgery, is
It
it?
can be.
It can be?
And the
No, I'm just curious if that was all you had to do.
So if I were just seeing you to take your gallbladder out,
That was my
I would,
point.
Yeah, I would counsel you on all the normal stuff. Risk of bleeding, infection, common bile duct injury. Biggest thing is that your gallbladder sits underneath your liver, and then when we go to take it out, I'm going to give you something in your IV called ICG. Gets taken up by your liver, gets secreted out into these ducts. I'm going to cut your cystic duct, which is right here. At least we have pictures for this. So there's your gallbladder. Here's your cystic duct. I'm going to cut that, take it out. But if I injure this, which is your common hepatic duct, or this, which is your common bile duct, that's bad. It requires more surgery. We got to fix it. We don't want to do that. So
No.
instead, by giving you this stuff, it actually does look green, just like this. Comes through all these here and gets secreted out. And I can flip a switch on the robot, and it shows me exactly where all these ducts are. It's like cheating, but it's good cheating.
wow.
So on these,
And you said it's by my liver.
Yeah.
I have a member of hemangioma, but that's something that's common in people.
I'm not going to mess with that.
Oh, okay. I just
Um,
wanted to, it's like at the capsule or something.
On its own, patients who come in who are not complicated, no issues, most of the time I can take a gallbladder out anywhere between 8 to 12 minutes.
Dang.
So I can move. Somebody like you, a little more complicated, that part of it, once we get the ports and everything else placed, I'm gonna have to probably take down a little bit of scar tissue. After that, probably 8 to 10 minutes. So I'm less worried about the gallbladder portion. Now,
Okay.
again, if we injure any of those other ducts, like I said, it's a lot of surgery we gotta go fix and figure out. If I stab your hemangioma and it starts bleeding, it's another issue we have to.
Okay.
Let's not deal with any of that though.
Well,
the
that's why I
goal
told
would
you I
be-
had it.
Yep. So, and I saw that in. the
Oh, you
picture.
did?
So,
Okay.
So the plan would be ileostomy reversal, peristomal hernia repair, probably with either a TAR, and then a reef stope on the other side. Close everything up, lay the mesh across there, and be done.
Okay. And then, did you say gallbladder?
Yes.
Oh,
I threw that in first.
I don't have any surgeries with just one thing involved.
No.
It's gotta be
Right?
all of them.
Everything's
It's,
gotta be complex.
It's got to be everything all together, and yeah. So
Okay.
that would be my plan. And
Do I need to go for any tests for you or no?
Yes, but last surgery you had was when?
November 7th.
Okay, so what we need to do, and this is where it gets a little more complex. Other medical problems, other stuff you're seeing a doctor for?
No.
Hypertension, diabetes, high cholesterol. Are you taking any blood thinners?
No.
Eliquis, Coumadin, nothing like that. Awesome. Sweet. Did they have you see a cardiologist before your last operation?
No.
Cool. Sweet. That makes it easy. So I just do the normal tests, which you probably had, which is EKG, chest X-ray, some blood work, all those kinds of things. The fact that you've already undergone a bunch of surgeries usually is pretty indicative you're going to tolerate the surgery.
Yeah.
I think that's our plan. So I'm gonna call Garrett. I'll let him know, hey, we talked. This is my plan going forward. The next hardest piece is figuring out a day he and I can operate.
Yeah, cause do you go out of Mountain View, I think?
I
Okay.
do. So I end up going over there. This is, he gets to play the big dog and I get to go to him. Mostly because I have privileges there. He doesn't have privileges over at the Siennas, which is the other place I operate.
Okay.
So, and typically from my standpoint, his residents will do the admission, they'll take care of all that stuff. I will probably see you day of surgery. I may come around on you if you stay longer.
Okay.
Most of the time, anything that goes wrong,
You think I'm gonna go home soon?
No.
Oh, I'm like,
Meaning if you stay longer than a few days in the hospital. If you go home the next day, awesome, you're out of there. If not, then they'll see you. I probably won't see you unless I'm able to, because none of my partners here have privileges over there. So this is something that they've given me freedom to do, just because we're doing good work. It's pretty cool. So I still use my privileges over there because I was former military with Garrett, and so he and I were both out at Nellis and UMC, and then I spent a little bit of time in Mountain View, and then joined this group over here.
Oh, wow, okay.
So
Cool.
yeah, just a long and short story.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
We two are very much alike.
Yeah.
No, seriously, I mean,
personality
personality-wise,
I
yeah.
know. I feel bad. I almost joined their group, and I was going to, but there were a few extenuating circumstances. The biggest one was they gave me the opportunity to be the program director over here, so I'm actually building the entire surgery program for the surgical residents.
Oh, wow.
There, I was going to be the APD, so it's president versus vice president, and then here it's a private practice group. So now I'm part owner in a group versus he gets paid by HCA, and
Yeah.
HCA is a big corporation, and I was not a big fan of that.
Yeah.
So he did what was right for him. I did what was right for me, and
Yep.
still friends and still trying to work together. But
Exactly.
just ended up in different
Right.
spots.
Right.
So
Okay. What else? Anything else? I don't.
No, I think we touched on
So
everything.
you
we
guys will
could-
talk. Yeah. How soon do we think this?
probably March at the very earliest.
Oh, okay.
And again, that is just me and him trying to figure
Right,
out
right.
schedules and who
To
can
get-
do where and all that
okay.
kind of stuff. Maybe end of February if we're able to hammer out some time.
Yeah. I'm not trying. I just was curious.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what we're gonna do, we'll walk up front, we'll check you out. I'm gonna let them know I'm gonna get them more information because I gotta figure out exactly what we're doing and how we're gonna book it, and then we'll go from there.
So this numbing, I said that's normal because of the.
So all that, I tell patients, all bets are off. So when we're doing abdominal wall reconstruction, you have cutaneous nerves that are involved in there, and that's what kind of gives sensation. I don't care about those. Like, what happens, happens. Like, we're gonna do whatever we have to do to fix that.
Right.
I care about the functional nerves, which are the ones that are actually innervating stuff so that you can flex and move stuff around.
Yeah.
So if you end up with numbness, we're
Oh.
gonna try to keep you from having pain. So I don't
Okay.
want that. But
Oh, so I could, like right now it is, but it's because of.
yeah,
I
because
mean-
that's sticking out. So hopefully that feels better. You're gonna hurt a whole lot after surgery because it's a big operation. Maybe not.
Used to
but,
that, no,
but it may a little
I'm-
bit. But the functional stuff, those functional nerves, that's all I care about.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's a lot today. Super nice to meet you.
Yeah, you
Let's see if we can
too.
get you all put back together and
Yeah.
hopefully get you doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome, guys.
I hope
Talk
so.
here. Yeah.
What else was I doing? I wonder if I should I be walking? Is there anything else I can? Is this right?
Yeah, I just put it down to pick up your stuff.
Oh, okay.
I'll take it. Oh, we're going out.
Oh, we're going out?
Yeah.
Where did we go?
Here,
Where did the doctor go?
that way.
Oh, is he up?
Yep, he is. And then you'll just get checked out up there.
I'll check you out up there, and then we'll submit stuff to insurance, and then we're gonna try to coordinate a date, and then once we have all that stuff ready to go, then I will see you day of surgery.
Okay.
Should I be like walking, like out walking?
The more walking, the better.
Cause I can't do, yeah, right.
You're not gonna screw this up anymore than it's
Then
already
it's
been
already-
screwed up.
yeah.
So at this point, now
You
you
think
just,
this is pretty big or?
Not
the
the biggest, not the biggest I've seen.
Okay.
But also, you know, it's yeah. I'll show you here. I don't think I have it. Is my phone in there? Is my phone in there? Where is my phone?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
This doesn't have any names or faces. Mm-hmm. So we did the same thing. This is another Friedman and Bill special. So took that back, put everything back in there. Did bilateral tars actually. So I had to release both muscles. We did it open and then put them back together. So we'll get you tuned up one way or another. So not the worst.
Thank you.
You're welcome, guys. Take care.
Okay, have a good one. Yeah, I think we're done.
Just before we leave, I just need you to do some consent forms for us.
Okay.
Before you leave, just so you don't have to come back.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I don't think he wants me back. He said the next time I'll see you surgery.
Exactly.